Okay, so now let's talk about a system of forces. We're gonna step it up just a little bit, and we're gonna say, hey, we want to reduce a bunch of forces to a force and a couple. Okay, so how do you do that? So a system of forces can be replaced by a collection of force couple systems acting at the point zero. So how do we do that? We say that our sum of our forces is simply the sum of the force. Our resultant force is the sum of the forces. Our resultant couple is the sum of the couples. And so you can go through, you can have, here's three different forces, and we want to say, hey, I'm applying all of these at the point zero. Well, if I can move all the forces there, right? And then I can add up all those, and I can have one resultant force. But when I moved this force to here, I gave up the tendency to rotate in that direction, right? When I moved this force to here, I gave up that tendency. When I moved this one to there, I did that as well. So I have to add those back in. So I have to add in those moments. But again, we can add up the moments as right here. We can just add them all up. So we can go from having multiple forces at different various locations to having one force at one location and one moment or one tendency to rotate at that location, which is actually extremely helpful. It makes it so that we can combine all of our forces and vectors into a single force vector and a single moment vector to do our analysis. So two systems of forces, this is huge, are equivalent if they can be reduced to the same force couple systems. So you can have forces that look radically different from each other, but if when all is said and done, you can reduce it to the same force couple system. So you have one has 2 forces, another one has 38 forces. If after you go through this step of moving them all to the same location and determining the moment and the resultant moment and the resultant force, if they have the same force and moment, in other words, if what this is saying is that two systems of forces, if they have the same tendency to move it left, right, up, down, and the same tendency to rotate it, they are the same thing. They can be said to be, they are called equivalent. And let's do an example of that. This is example 3.8.